boys and girls, yes, one day closer to the weekend. I know I repeat myself on a Tuesday. Yes, it's a Tuesday. Ah, but we're that day much day closer to the weekend, which of course we means wrestling. Yes. But anyways, today's Tuesday. We talk to our fine local talent that we meet on the indie scene. And tonight, look who we have with us. This is Stir in the Pot with Donkey Cade and my very special guest, Jon Spoor. Am I saying that correctly?
You are saying that correctly, Jon Spoor. I am a fun guy.
uh, I was kind of and I was going to ask you pre-record, but I thought I'd just run with it and hope for the best. It could be spore, like a spoon with spore, or a spore as a fungi. And I really didn't want to. It didn't matter either way. But hey, I hit it on the nail.
Hell yeah.
Mr. Spore, we were having a little fun pre-taping, and you know, this has nothing to do with me. This is going to be the most weird spot I've ever started a Stirring the Pot. We were trying to get our sound situated, and I was kind of air guitar or air. Yeah, I was air drumming some Disturbed, if you will, trying to give you a sound check as you were trying to get your situation going on over there. Now, did you notice it was Disturbed, by the way?
I actually don't even recall. So no, I didn't.
Yeah, so my man, boys and girls, my man is out there this evening. We'll see what Yes. Oh, you know what? Just for giggles and shit. Yes, my man. So anywho, welcome, welcome to the show, my man. I appreciate your time setting some time aside to talk to us, the fans.
Hell yeah.
Short and
I keep it short and sweet. Hell yeah.
That's cool because you know what? I name every episode a different name, and I've already named this MFer. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's already. Well, my association with you happens to be with my stepdads because they've adopted me. They're my stepdads, one Papa Bear and one Rad Dad. They're called the Stepdads. A fine tag team out there in the indie scene. So that's my association with you, Mr. Spoor, because, and I'm going to start right here because this is totally our association. You guys do this thing called the Thunder Buddies. Could you, in a nutshell, please explain to the fans what Thunder Buddies is?
Yes, I can. Thunder Buddies. I mean, can I dive into like the backstory of how it all began?
We want to learn about our talents and our guests, please.
So like as a kid, obviously I was born in April 23rd, 1990. So like the Attitude Era obviously was a big part of my life growing up as a kid. And you can ask me like what my favorite wrestler or tag, like it's hard for me to really, like, I just liked it all. I was just a fan of it. I just like seeing people clash into each other, you know? But so like I always watched like Thunder. I was watching WCW and I was watching, Raw and all that. And Thunder was just something that I always like tuned into on a Thursday night. I didn't really like go out like I didn't start like wrestling until like high school. So like as a kid, like, on Thursdays I was pretty much home. So like, always watching, playing video games when you got home from school, and then you watch wrestling before bed. But so yeah, fast forward to now, I'm 31 years old, and being in wrestling, making content and whatnot, like I wanted to do some kind of like video format, like podcast. And I think nobody ever really talks about Thunder. And that's just because, like, if you know, it was like just the worst, like the shits. And but like it's just interesting to watch. And I was just like, yeah, man, like I think it would be a cool concept to get a couple buddies and watch Thunder. And I asked some like people that like weren't in the business whether they would be interested in it, and it's obviously like a pretty big task to take because it's like 3 years of 3 years of shitty wrestling to watch, and so you had to be kind of committed to do it because like I just know that when you're doing something like a podcast, as stirring the pot, you got to be consistent and you got to like hit hard with it. You can't pull off the gas, and so, I asked some people and they weren't really interested. And then I ended up actually just running it by Johnny Patches from NYCW. I was just like, hey, I'm just throwing this out there. Like, I want to do this project. I don't know if you know anyone or maybe if you were even interested in it. But um, I don't know if I might have asked him like 2 different times. And then the second time, I think he was just like, I think the stepdads would be interested in something like that. So he's like, I'll start a group chat with you guys and you can ask them. And 39 episodes later, here we are. 39 grueling, mind bending, head slamming episodes of WCW Thunder. And in the beginning, I was like, the name I believe Wade came up with. I was gonna call, in my head, I'm just like, well, just have like a placement name. I think it was gonna be like Throwback Thunder. This is all like, hopefully one day this will be like trivia, and this podcast excerpt right here will be a clip of that. But yeah, I was calling it Throwback Thunder, and then I think Wade was like, yo, let's call it like Thunder Buddies, because like you need one in order to get through it. And I was like, yeah. And to be honest, I don't know whether or not it might be in text. I'm pretty sure my response to that was, hell yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And that's why this episode, I mean, why would I call it anything else? You saying it right off the ripper. I mean, it's a beautiful, just a beautiful two words. But the way you say it, though. So Thunder Buddies, not only that, boys and girls, but what they do, there's the three of them. You have Papa Bear, Wade Kruger, you have Rad Dad, Radley Belmont, and then you have Jon Spoor. And then they add in yet another element, which adds a very big question mark, because these are the three guys that are regularly going to be running this week after week after week. But they add in that element of wrestling. It's just another element, I say, because it's a question mark. You never know what you're going to get from a special guest.
Yeah, so it's like, what is it, Mystery Theater meets wrestling, where like it's just a bunch of buddies that obviously kind of reminisce in a way. It's also fun to, like, we've done a couple with like younger generation where they're like, yeah, we never seen any of this, and so yeah, you get like a mixed bag of like different perspectives on wrestling, and they all kind of like get to see this one product that the thing is like with Thunder, while it was happening, it was like the hottest thing in the world. But like then when you look back at it, it just didn't really age well, and so it's just kind of like a shock. It's like a culture shock looking back at it, kind of in a way. But yeah, so we just sit down and we watch an episode and we just do like live commentary over it, and kind of just really just not enjoy a lot of it sometimes. And we actually did we had, what episode was it, 36 recently. We had Vic Delicious on it, and I was kind of upset about it because like we kind of like shammed them into watching probably the lowest, like the worst one we've watched yet. Like we were like, just like, they were talking about toys, they were showing toys in the cameras, like we were just so bored with what was happening. It was rough. But yeah, it's really a mixed reaction thing. Sometimes it's really good, a lot of times it's just really bad. But
I had the honor and the pleasure of being invited to said Thunder Buddies, and I had an absolute blast. We jogged kind of all the way through. I mean, we were watching at the same time, paying attention. Uh, there was some critiquing, there was some ball busting, there was some, a lot of that. But we had a blast. That was definitely a good time, and I appreciate the invite on that because that's something that I'll never forget. I mean, Thunder Buddies, come on.
Absolutely. I mean, there's plenty of episodes left, so I'm sure the pain will persist for you in the future. Um,
I have
yeah.
caught. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, I just knew if we could do it consistently, and I mean, we have been. I mean, we're pretty much putting out an episode every week. It's over at Standing 8 Entertainment. It's facebook.com/Standing 8 Entertainment is where I have the episodes uploaded to. For now, it's just like the easiest thing to get around with how like copyright and stuff works. We don't make money off it, so like I see it more as just like us being able to like break our teeth a little bit with it. It's giving me a task to do, and you learn from it too. With it's wrestling, so watching wrestling only helps your wrestling IQ. So like
Right.
there's a lot of positives that come out of doing this. Just not necessarily monetary at this point, but you never know what could happen between now and the end of its run completely. We have like these ideas that we've talked about in the beginning of like wanting to get some of the roster from that time period on, so like they can watch it and like you can get like their feedback on it too, which would be kind of interesting. Buff Bagwell actually follows us on Twitter, which is really cool. We're hoping that's like our top of the that's like our number one guest. I told them, I'm like, we at one of these episodes, like we're going to get him on, and who knows, maybe fans even potentially make something like that happen. But yeah, I mean, I just I guess calling myself a producer, like being in the producer's mindset, and being able to like live stream and all that stuff. Like, I definitely want to be able to do a live one, like maybe like a small live show version of one where it's us three live with like fans as an audience doing it. And yeah, it's something that's just going, and like I'm kind of building it as I go. But as like I have a bunch of different projects that I'm doing that I'm sure we'll dive into a little bit. But
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, like it's something that it's something that I'll once it's done too, like it's something that us three wrestlers will like always have, like we'll be able to to say that we did that, so that's kind of cool too.
Absolutely, and being dedicated and committed and putting in, because it's not just a little bit of effort to keep these things running, especially
Oh
for the
yeah,
time
no.
you guys want to do it. So my hat's off to all three of you for just sticking to it and really embracing it and running with it. I mean, that's some good stuff. At 39 episodes, where are you in the Thunder timeline? You said it's a 3-year run. Where are you about in that 3-year run right now at episode 39?
Oh, actually, let me just Google it so I can get the exact date.
No, please do.
Uh,
But you guys look like you're having a lot of fun, A. And like you said, B, you get to see this older generation of wrestling that you get to look back at and these experiences you get to learn from said footage. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
As
I mean,
watching it.
I've added a bunch of different moves, and that's again the cool thing is, and I had the opportunity to do that. Like I have a ring that I have access to, so like I'm able to like as soon as I see something that I like off Thunder, I'll just like try it out, and then like I've used a lot of it in my matches recently. So I mean, it's just kind of like learning the craft.
Yeah, man.
So episode 39 is November 5th, 1998. It says NWO's Hollywood Scott Steiner Hollywood's Scott Steiner. That's what they were calling him. I don't know if that's right or not. NWO Hollywood's Scott Steiner vows to get rid of NWO Wolfpack, starting with Lex Luger. Eddie Guerrero continues trying to recruit Rey Mysterio to join the LWO. Prince Iaukea challenges Chris Jericho for the World Television title. So that's kind of like where we're at with that. Chris Jericho actually did cut a pretty good promo on that episode. It's funny because so like it was a middle of the road episode. It was definitely better, I think, than the last one that we watched prior, but it's just funny because like Wade and Radley, they're like I think Wade just when he starts, we rate him 1 to 5 at the end, right? It's like we can kind of give our critique about it overall, what we thought. And Wade was just like, I got to be honest with you guys. And he just starts going into it. He just starts like overselling everything. Cause like what happens is I'm usually the last guy. So to give the rating. So I kind of just like try to think of, all right, where am I going to have a starting point at? So like this one in my mind, before anybody said anything, I was like, I mean, it's pretty much a middle of the road episode. It wasn't terrible, but like I can't really see it giving it something closer to like what I rated the last good one that I've seen. So I was like, 2.5 middle of the road. Wade just starts overselling it, and he's like 3, and I'm like, all right. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go up a little bit with it. I don't know. And then like Radley is like, wait. Let me recap this. So Radley always is on the fact sheet of the episode, so he can like see all the information and whatnot. And he like kind of just reads off the final description of each segment, and then as he's reading it, Wade's like, oh my god. Oh, that's even better. He's like, it's just so much nonsense that it was so good. Like it was so bad, it was so good. And like they went up like into the 3s with it. And then it gets my turn, and I'm just like, I usually to kind of pop them, I always rate mine like a weird number. I'll be like I don't know if I did it your episode. I probably did. I'll be like 2.73. I've even done like a 2.73.13, like just a dumb decimal thing or whatever. But so they were like waiting for that, and I was like 2 point, and they're like, oh, here we go. And I was just like 2.7, 2.75. I was like, I wanted to give it a 2.5. You guys oversold the shit out of it. So like, I'll bump it up a little bit, but I'm not going to a 3 with it. But yeah. So yeah, it's more, I should probably just clip all the endings and like, I mean, that's actually a good idea to like have extra promo for it, but just have like a thing of all the endings and put them out. But
that's actually a fine idea, because I remember our ending. It was just as fun as what you're describing right now.
Right. Yeah.
I did not mean to focus on this Thunder Buddy project that you guys got going on, but it does really seem like you're having tons of fun, because we do have the talent on here to talk to us about their career. Get the meat and potatoes of stuff, where they started and whatnot. The generalized stuff on however they want to give it to us. It does not matter. And I know we did kind of focus there on the Thunder Buddies. Great time. I mean, boys and girls, if you ever see on Rad Dad, Papa Bears, or even Jon Spoor's page, if they're putting it out there, hey, we're looking for a guest tonight to hang out with us for a Thunder Buddies episode, do yourself a favor. Go go on the show and have some fun, because it's nothing but fun. I'm telling you.
Yeah, we might end up start doing live. I mean, literally, there's nothing stopping me from going live when we do it. It's just something that I don't know. It might that's kind of how I work anyways. I'm just like, F it. Let's go and let's just run live. Screw it. Like without even telling them, that would be like something that I would do. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's a way for us to be creative and have our own thing. It's knock on wood here, like, putting it anywhere else gets you in trouble almost instantly. And I mean, hopefully nobody ends up seeing. I mean, I don't want to say nobody to see this. Everybody should see this, but they're gonna hear me rat myself out. But it's technically quote unquote copywritten material, like when you put it on YouTube and stuff. So it's kind of hard to get it out into the public eye. Facebook kind of bends the rules a lot, so it's like they don't really flag it now, which is weird. But so yeah, I don't know. It might end up. I don't know. Hopefully, we'll always have it. If I end up trying to get it out on like a different platform, who knows? Time will have to tell that story. But yeah.
This association you have with stepdads, you're a wrestler. You're an active wrestler at the time that you've met the stepdads. That's correct.
Yeah. I mean, I started wrestling in 2014. They wrestled way before then. They were wrestling like backyards. I'm big fans of them. I seen them. I was in locker rooms like without really ever having much conversation with them up to this point. So actually we had the conversation with Patches was like the first time I've ever texted them, right? And then calling them, I mean, kind of like you, right? When I talked to you on Thunder Buddies was the first time I ever saw you face to face. And so yeah, we like, and I knew that was gonna be a cool element too. Again, I'll say this a lot, but like the chaos of like what could happen when I just knew it was gonna be three wrestlers watching wrestling. So like, I don't necessarily need to know anyone in order to do that, right? Just like, you meet a guy you never wrestled before and you have a match with him, So I knew that like that element with this would still work either way. And but we've actually become like, I mean, they're buds. I'm big. How can you not be big fans of them? They're awesome. And it's cool to hear their old stories, like when they're like yarding and all that stuff. And yeah, no, they're awesome.
I've seen some of the OG footage, if you will, from back different time. Interesting, but my goodness, Jon Spoor. And I know we're here to talk about Jon Spoor, but really, I mean, how can you not love the stepdads as a collective and singly, as humans and as wrestlers and performers? The entertainment value they give us, they leave us with so many memories and everything from show to show. For fuck's sake, they got a squad behind them called the Stepdad Squad. I mean, come on. I mean, I know nowadays they are slash Frost Force, so it's Stepdad Squad slash Frost Force, but it does not matter nonetheless. Both of these guys, that's how much they hit us fans. They have brought an entire squad. There's like 6 or 8 of these kids that come, and they're traveling, from like New York State, I think, or some crap, and they're coming to like, Thomaston, Connecticut, to see specifically the stepdads, So I mean, these guys are a ton of fun. They're really good in the ring. They always leave memories with us, the fans, constantly. And they just really bring a lot to the table that we enjoy, and we latch on to the stepdads and love them. So, I mean, finding those guys is probably a big bonus for something like the Thunder Buddies,
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely. I mean, this kind of segues into like the kind of main thing that I'm like doing with wrestling for the most part. But you may or may not know, like I have a studio, right? Like I have an actual studio that we have a ring and we train, but like I also like have been producing, like in September we did a 8-match card. We had a lot of like TIW guys, NYCW guys, World of Hurt Wrestling guys, just people that I know, throughout the years, whatnot. And got them all in. Monster Factory guys. So yeah, we got them all on a card. I think I've shared the card on my Facebook page. When you look at it, you're like, oh wow, like this is like. But yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing that's cool about what we're doing there, and Actually, I like it's kind of breaking news. No, some people know what's going on, some people don't, like, are in the know with this, but like basically I got that place in July. July is just around the corner. Once my lease is up for the year, bam, like we've been doing this for a year, right? Like it's amazing. And the thing is like going into the pandemic, I was like, even in the beginning of it, like I was on the road doing solar construction at the time, so I was just like all over New England, and I actually debuted at NYCW the weekend before everything shut down. And uh so then I was still on the road and like still out. It was just like such a weird time. Obviously, everybody knows, right? And everybody kind of like panicked a little bit with everything that was going on. A lot of wrestlers were affected by it. Um, I thankfully was again working in solar construction, so like I had to be honest, the pandemic wasn't really that hard on me. I tried to stay level headed as possible, and like I saw it as an opportunity once that, because eventually got off the road in like August, and I stayed from August all the way until this past September, whatever, off the road, getting paid unemployment and everything. But it allowed me to like really focus on this whole thing of producing and live streaming and even like video gaming. I do a bunch of that too. But and then once everything kind of, I told myself like not really worry too much about like where I think I need to be at that point in time, because nobody really knew what was happening. So until there was better information of like knowing when it was kind of dying down, and it obviously took until last spring or so maybe. But I knew getting back into wrestling, I really needed to. It's tough for me where I live. I'm in upstate New York. I'm in Glens Falls, home of Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I'm way upstate. I'm like, maybe 2 hours from the Canadian border. So like wrestling really isn't like New York State is tough for wrestling regardless, anywhere you go. But like up in just our area, it's just kind of like a tough thing. And um I knew getting back into wrestling, I just really needed to like challenge myself moving forward, because like I had to realize that like being my age and just how like the landscape changes, especially with like AEW, WWE, all this stuff. Like, I don't know, like for me to like, when I first got into wrestling, and I mean, my timeline here is all screwed up, so you guys got to bear with me here. But
That's what
like,
we do in this show. We
so
just
when I trained at the Mid Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie, where like, I mean, wrestling's the fucking, it was the mecca over there.
yeah.
So I was a House of Hardcore student. So like I was trained by Dreamer,
All
Vic
right.
Delicious, and Hale Collins.
Okay.
Um, and so my upbringing into the business was like through Dreamer, and I mean, that's kind of, that's a very kind of intimidating, weird, like, pressure kind of way to get into that, because it's Dreamer, he's a legend. But I knew that like if I was as passionate or as game to become a wrestler, like it literally too was like I texted Dreamer one day because I was finally just like, what, I need to like, I just got to find a place to train and just try it, just to at least say that I could, because I knew I could do it. So I was like, I gotta just see. And I texted Dreamer on Twitter. My only, probably like, I have a dozen tweets on Twitter, probably. Like my account's probably inactive, deleted, whatever. That was one of the 12 tweets I've ever sent, was to Dreamer. And he literally like texted me back like 5 minutes later. Like I got a buzz, like
Really?
not right after I sent it, and I was like, all right, I'll probably never hear from this. And it was like 5 minutes later, like he's like, email this address. I'll see you whatever day. And I was like, okay. And yeah, that's how I got into wrestling.
Uh, obviously,
So I forgot where I was with that.
no,
Um,
no, no, that's okay because we were
It's a lot. I knew it was going to be a lot and disorganized. I told you I was going to rant.
we started with uh, the value of what the Rad Dad and Wade Kruger bring and the bonus that they are of having them as your Thunder buddies.
Oh,
If
well, yeah. Oh, so I was talking about how like I have this studio creating content, whatever. I intend on doing way more projects with them. I'm actually getting internet on Wednesday at the studio for the first time. And oh, so it was like a breaking news thing too. Like we're moving the studio to a different place in the same building, but like
okay.
it's gonna give us like just have you ever been to the 2300 arena?
I have not,
You
no.
haven't? Damn,
No.
you should definitely see a wrestling show there for sure. But but uh it's kind of like it's just like a big black high like industrial big room.
Mhm.
And did you see my last promo by chance that I posted on Facebook?
I did.
um I came out of like a sliding door.
Yeah.
That's the whole room behind
Oh,
me of the
okay.
promo. But so we're kind of like upgrading once my lease is up in July, and we're moving the ring, and it's going to be like a full studio setup. And I'm going to live stream every Friday. I'll have like prepared material that'll go through the feed, but like we'll mix it up with whatever wrestlers are there to like put on a match, and
Okay.
hopefully get like like basically run a Friday show that's going to be on. You can watch it free on the Standing 8 Facebook page.
All right.
So yeah, and I plan on doing a lot more with the stepdads. Like what you're saying about, I mean, they could be making like they're just like they're a good like throwback type gimmick of like wrestling. And I mean, it's over anywhere you take it, So I mean, they can go anywhere and they'll get a reaction,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Because they have a mind for the business. Um, I want to revert back to. Is there any foot that's available?
You're gonna have to chop this all up and put it in
No, no,
order.
no, no. That's what we do. We go on this roller coaster. That's why we don't write a fucking thing down, man.
Yeah.
Um, you said you did a taping in the studio in September. Is there any footage
Yes.
we
Yeah,
can
it's
catch?
all on the Standing 8. Like if you go on the Standing 8 Facebook page,
Okay.
you're looking at the past. I mean, however many months now, 8, 9, 10 months. I've been pretty regularly uploading a lot of different things. Obviously, but if you go a little more down on the page, you'll find the September area where we'll have all the videos. Or just going to like the video archive, it'll have all that stuff. But
Oh,
yeah, I post it. I mean, if you look back through it, like you'll just. I mean, I've had Standing 8 has been a thing that I had again, going back in time again, before wrestling, I was really into MMA. And I've also, from 2012 up until 2016, I was putting on MMA events. Like it started off with, I got a cage. I had a space in a town nearby that was like a gym area that allowed me to set up a cage in the space. And like, I, when I graduated, this is even going a little back more in time. When I graduated high school, I moved out to St. Louis and I trained at Matt Hughes's Hit Squad. I don't know if you know who Matt Hughes is. He's a UFC Hall of Famer. One of the
so
crazy, right? It's kind of crazy when I talk about it too, because it's like one of those things where you can be like, dude, this guy's full of shit. But the thing is, like, I mean, you look through all my stuff, you can see all that. But
awesome.
that's the one thing that's cool about all of this is because like I mean, I've really had this experience. It's kind of insane. Like an 18, like just thinking that I was 18 years old living in like these army barrack dorm rooms with like guys from like all over the world, and then like you're training at a world class facility, and like looking back at that, just being a naive, like dumb, like I said, 18-year-old kid, just like I don't know, it's kind of fascinating to me to look back at it. But I don't know if like I know when I was, we're gonna go back in time even more now. This is gonna be a backwards story. It's gonna get a little. It's gonna get a little maybe solemn a little bit, but you know it is what it is. Because when you look at it, then you really go like, holy shit. So like, uh, I started wrestling my junior year in high school. So like, or freshman year, sophomore year, 3 years in wrestling in high school. But so that started in November. And actually, so like that started like on November 20th. Like my dad passed away October 20th. So like he actually never knew that like any of this stuff would
Oh,
was gonna like ever happen. Cause like, I was like a 15-year-old kid when he passed away. So like I had no idea, living in the sticks up here, you don't really there's no opportunity, it's just like I was telling the stepdads, I didn't see my first live wrestling show till like maybe like 2012, something like that. And I watched wrestling. I can remember watching wrestling as late as like 2 or 3 years old. um but so yeah, and that's, yeah, obviously I'm 32 now. Like I spent my 20s going through the gauntlet. But somehow I got into wrestling. I was doing the MMA stuff before, which obviously taught me a lot of discipline too. It's kind of weird how it all happens, because like I had a lot of opportunities to just, I mean, who knows, like why all of this kind of happened the way it did. I have no idea. But it's just, it's kind of how I just see life, and it's basically what keeps me going forward. Is I mean, this is what I enjoy doing the most. So it's like the things that, I've never really made a killer living off wrestling. Obviously, it's, I'm 8 years in now. March was my 8th year anniversary. But I've done some cool things. Like I got to wrestle at the arena, and like with like the Blue Meanie and the Sandman in my match and stuff, like doing an ECW style old school match, which is cool. Like I said, being with Dreamer, I was like setting up and tearing down the ring for the first like 30 shows that he did. I've done, at the MCW arena in Baltimore. Like we did them at the arena in Philadelphia. We would do them in, like Long Island or whatever. Like we would go everywhere doing it. So like I mean, the first show that I got to attend, like not even like maybe a month or two into training, it's just like Kevin Steen before he went to the WWE, like all the, AJ Styles when he had the IGWP heavyweight title, and like just being able to like be around those people and stuff, like yeah, it was like
quite the
a fast crash course and like, that type of environment. But so yeah, and that kind of opens the door for me. And that's kind of always been the thing with me, is like I've always had these experiences where like I knew like the MMA stuff and the wrestling stuff would always tie in together, as a performer on the business side, as a promoter. And like I do all my own, like these logos that are on the screen. Like I create, like I've always toyed with like graphics, even when I was like way younger, like even when I was like 12, 13 years old, like when I had no idea about anything other than just that these new computers that we had at my house were fun and interesting to use, and you can do art with them or whatever. And it's that turned morphed into like the whole editing thing. And like I said, having this whole past year off, just like I just seen it as an opportunity to like allow. It's just, yeah. If you look again the timeline of all of this, it's just like now I'm at a point where, a couple of years ago, I ran a couple different wrestling shows in the past too. I actually did one where we had a wrestling ring and an MMA cage, like side by side with each other. And we had 5 wrestling matches and 5 fights. And we did like, 2 wrestling matches at first, 3 fights after that. And then we did like the 2 wrestling main events. And we had like 3 MMA like main events or whatever. And So I've always been just kind of like throwing stuff at the wall, and even like with production, like me and Vic, like I've pretty much since the first day I met Vic, the first day that I showed up at the Mid Hudson Civic Center, we've basically have texted each other almost every day since then. Like him and I are very close. Like he's, obviously I've learned a lot through him. Um, and he's a he has over 20 years in the business, so like he's a vet, for sure. You learn a lot from him. Um, and Yeah, so and thankfully, like even Vic too, like he's in, like I'm hoping that like eventually we'll have these opportunities where like, especially in New York State, it's just like wrestling is, there's some promotions more now. Like 4 years ago, there wasn't as much for sure, and even back that farther less. So like, but it's not really like a happening place. Like shows definitely, I mean, I'm calling spades here. Like, shows are struggle. And obviously being on the promoter side too, like I understand all of it and I get it. And I understand how guys just keep going too, because I've done that same stuff. Like you know, like it's a tough gig to do and make money off of. So like I 100% understand it. Um, that's the thing with like these projects that I'm doing, is like me being able to be creative and express and like just make things and put it out. I'm hoping that using that stuff, like I want to be able to promote what's happening in New York State. So like even that's why the idea of like what I'm really doing with the studio, I don't really want to see it as like a promotion. It is a promotion. It's promotional. Like I don't want it to, like I want it to be like, where we could have a TIW champion wrestle a NYCW champion, the Beyond, or I don't know, GCW champion could wrestle whatever, just a way to try to do cool things. I put out an episode actually. So yeah, this is for sure something you need to watch if you aren't really familiar with Standing A Entertainment on Facebook. Uh, on Christmas Day, or maybe Christmas Eve, I posted a video that we did. Uh, Me, Fox Vineyard, and Vic Delicious we showed up at the studio, and I think for some reason like nobody else showed up. So we were just kind of sitting there and like, well, what can we do with our time? I always have like my camera equipment and stuff on me. So I was like, let's just try to film some stuff and see like what we can do. And basically, Vic and Fox put on a match that we filmed with no ref. And like, I'm literally like around them the whole time. So like it's up close, like super up close. Like while they're applying holds, like I can kind of like reposition and get like a cool angle, like up shot, which like you really can't get when you're like far back and are on booms and all that stuff.
Right.
But so like it's kind of like a different, it's like an action movie, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I added a lot of production to it, like for the ref counts and stuff. Like it's me voicing over 3, 2, 1, fight, 1, 2. Like I add like voiceover, I add like special effects. Like Fox does like jab moves, and like every time he hits, there's like a pop effect and bang and blam, because he's kind of like a comic booky type character.
He is a
Um,
character and a half.
yeah, but so yeah, I'm like really and so that's leading to like uh we have the NYCW. They have like a Fight Club title, and Johnny Patches actually gave us that title. I'm giving you guys like behind the curtain here, all right? So like this is it's kind of it's this is all known. Fox actually has it right now. But so he's had it, and we haven't really done much follow up onto like why he has it and yada yada yada. But so like moving into the new space and all that stuff, like this will all culminate together into some kind of digital content that will be put out
Awesome.
pretty regularly to help document this whole thing. And yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. I'm in a place right now where like I was able to like get two different part-time jobs that like allow me to really make enough money for me to, I'm taking on students. We have some greens that we work with right now at the studio. We train Wednesdays and Fridays. There is like payments to it too. But I'm not really like, once we kind of get situated in the new space, I'm going to kind of hit that more and get students. So like I'm paying the rent of all of this, and like the show that I did in September, like we had probably like 20 fans show up all together. They weren't all like paid, but in the space that we have now, it's pretty cool. I think we could probably get like standing room like 60 people in there, and I kind of want to try to do that before we move into the new spot. That's why, like I was saying, with like Fox having the title, it's probably going to culminate into an event that we do before we move into the new space. It actually could be even a cool thing that I film in a way where like the show, oh my god, this is really cool. I'm like, so this is literally, you guys are in a tunnel right now of like my madness that I am constantly in. As I was trying to refer to before I went on this tangent, I am in control of everything that I want to create. As long as I have the people to help create it, the possibilities of what we create are endless. But like this thing it could be a live show, but then it could be filmed in a way that like it starts off in that one studio and then ends off
in the new studio.
a big bang and bam, crash, blow. We try to do some kind of thing, and I can do a special effect and like bam. Like, did you see when I did the new set for Thunder Buddies? I did like a little clip that. So like, what happened was I did a special effect where like the screens started shaking, and I told them, I'm like, pretend that like everything's rumbling right now, and you guys are scared and startled, and it just like flashes, and then it turns into the new set, and we're all like, oh whoa. But yeah, man. Cool. Like, I don't know, just yeah, you go. I'm done
No,
talking.
no. Your excitement and your passion is absolutely amazing. And I don't even mean to interrupt, but
Oh
I
no,
do
please.
say something. I do want to say this vision that you just had right here on STP. We talk about evolution all the time with the athletes, with their characters, with their gear, with their presentation, with their mental stability, with their physical prowess, if you will, the way they're eating and dieting. Everything changes with a wrestler, or throughout their venture in their career. But you're talking right here with what you have. This is your little baby, Mr. Spoor. I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
you could project the evolution to us in your vision, just how you perceived it that quickly, that you just brought that up, going from the original studio to the new studio, and seeing this evolution of what your big picture is of what's going on here. Fantastico, my friend.
Yeah.
A mad scientist. uh
Yes, for sure.
yes, absolutely. And we got it right here on Stir in the Pot.
Yeah, we do. That's good content right there. Hell yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. It's tough because as I get older, I'm like, in my 20s, I always was like begging for attention type thing. That's kind of just, I had to grow up and whatnot. And it started happening more towards my like late 20s, I guess. Uh, but, and it's tough for me now because I'm like, when you look at like the TikToks of the world and all that, you're like, man, is this the kind of content that I want to be like like when I'm 30 years down the road and I look back at all this stuff, and I mean, just think of like and that's the thing about hopefully this, we're stirring the pot, we're gonna stir my pot here, but like I've never delete everything that my footprint digitally when it comes to like social media, all that stuff, uh, like my Facebook, my Instagram, like those are literally like digital diaries of my 20s, because that's like I didn't get Facebook until I think either I was like 19 or 20. I was a MySpace guy till the freaking last day. Um, uh, and so, I got MySpace, and Instagram came out like, I don't know, 2012, 2011, something like that. But so like those are pretty much like diaries of like my growing ups. I kind of forgot what we
Uh,
were rambling about.
we were we were kind of chatting about passion and the evolution of going from the original to the new company. But I have a very important question right here.
All right, let's hear it.
You have talked about project after project after
Yes.
project after project after project. Now, uh, you are an active professional wrestler, are you not, my man?
Yeah, I mean that's part of the project too. Yeah. So like
Where
I
do you
get
spend
to
time to wrestle?
what's that?
Where do you find time to wrestle?
So like I said, having the studio allows me to get a lot of in-ring time, and like if I like that show that I did in September, I was the guy I filmed the whole thing.
Okay.
And I also was the promoter. I was the one putting it on. I was the one who got the doctors. Like luckily I was helped out with licensing, and we had no issues, no serious issues. I had to be insured. Like everything now you need to do legitimately. Like I did all that, and then I also had a spot on the show. I was I think I was right after intermission. Um, I did like a little like open call out to like one of the students that was who can actually wrestle a little bit, so I got to like beat him up. But yeah, so like I literally that one show. So like I originally we were gonna have a show in May, and in this month it was gonna be in 2 weeks. And uh you know what? I'm just gonna I get not bitched at, but like people have like commented in the past on my stuff, like as you say, like how passionate I am about this stuff, like the little things that I've shared on my feed, right?
Mhm.
Like you'll get,
Good slack.
hey, I'll get workers that kind of poo poo the things that I do. Okay. And it's like, dude, why are you're not, why is this going on right now? Like, I would not do that to you. Why are you doing this to me, type of thing? And so and I kind of just fly off the hinge, and then they block me. And you know what? Cool. Like, that's fine. Like, if you're not going to add anything to what we're doing, like everybody has an opportunity to do something with this. Like, I need those people that like want to be in on it. And if you're not going to be in on it, then like
Mm,
goodbye. But damn it, I keep getting on tangents here.
That's okay.
Um
Being an active wrestler, how do you find
um so I hope to be able to wrestle every Friday on these shows.
okay?
I've been thankfully getting back into wrestling. So when I was during the quarantine, I kind of ballooned up. I probably went into the quarantine around 230, and then I got up to like 260, I would say. And it's not that I didn't like go crazy or anything, but I also was like, I was basically home just like doing whatever. You couldn't really go anywhere. Like I was like, all right, like this is, like I said, the opportunity to just, I need to make sure I'm just busy and not just sitting around moping about all the other things going on in the world, because like obviously it wasn't going to get me anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So dude, I keep I keep like running away from my thoughts here. But
Wrestling on the Friday night shows.
so be able to wrestle Friday night, quarantine, ballooned up, knew that getting back in I needed to obviously wrestle more than I was before I went into the pandemic. And just that's why, like, getting the studio, bam, come July, I knew I was going to be able to have a place to train. I just knew by proxy, the more active that I was, the more I was obviously going to lose weight. So I wasn't even really that worried about that because, again, I wrestled in high school. I fought amateur MMA and stuff from 2008 to 2013, just before I started wrestling. So like losing, like when I started wrestling in 2014, I was like 280 pounds was the biggest I ever was, and I cut down from there to like 190, and I was wrestling at like 200, I think. Um,
Wow.
And that's the funny thing is, I'm getting told, oh, you're too fat. So I'm like, all right, I'll lose weight. Then I get down to 200 and I get told, oh, you're too small now. So I'm like, dude, what do you want me to do here? But yeah,
You're
so NYCW, like I said, promoters, I can't talk shit about a promoter that like is willing to try to do a show and continuously do shows. And Pat just like was right out of the gate with like, hey, I got shows every month. Even in the beginning, there was like a couple months where we did one in Waterville, and then we would do one in Whitesboro, and then he did one in like the Clinton Arena, around that area, the Utica area, and then we would go back and forth a couple times, but so I knew I was like, this has all been like a thing of like getting me back into like my goal isn't to get to like the WWE or whatever. It would be cool for me to be able to do. I want to, so like moving forward, it's like I know every Friday I'm going to be able to wrestle if I want, cuz somebody will be there. I'll be able to wrestle. People will be able to see it. They might not be live, but it'll be live streamed, and I know, again, like even with Thunder Buddies, I mean, my standing eight stuff, like people see it. Like I don't want to. I'm not sitting here because like my views aren't like crazy too. But with anything, if you put out stuff consistently through time, it's gonna accumulate views. So like, I've for the past, I don't know, 8 years now, I've had like a steady slow cooker of a kind of like a digital media page, just like kind of growing some kind of audience that it reaches, and I'll be able to wrestle and build an audience that'll help build New York State pro wrestling, like the community. That's like one of my main focuses, with all of this. And,
okay.
whether or not I end up going to the big times, like all these people that get on AEW, Dark, and whatever, like that's cool. Do what you want to do. I don't know. I don't. I haven't heard of anything really coming from doing any of that, right? Like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like people don't really like get opportunities to get signed from that stuff, right? Like, you haven't really.
Well, if you're asking me, I will answer you very honestly. There are many talents that from my specific area, and some of the surrounding areas that have come to the Connecticut promotions and have performed and whatnot, that have been to AEW Dark. Very, very minimal number have returned to said either AEW Dark or Elevation on a regular basis, and or get signed on that dotted line and hit the
Yeah.
AEW main roster. The main one that I will point out, right off the ripper, they saw his physique, they saw his look. He's always looking professional. He looks great in ring. Is one George Jaw. He was
Oh
previously
yeah. Punjabi. Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
previously Robo. They signed him up. They started
Or
utilizing
wait,
George.
yeah, Robo the Punjabi Lion, right? That was his name. Yeah.
But pretty much, to be honest with you, Mr. Spoor, since you are asking me, the heavier majority I have not seen make multiple returns. I have not seen gone maybe to the Impact or to the AEW main roster or the WWE or NXT or however you see it. They have remained they have remained on the independent scene. So
Right.
you are
Yeah,
kind of,
and not that like you would expect them to get like some kind of big thing, but like yeah, I don't know. So like in my eyes, you know, I think I just my mission is just to like focus on my lane. That you obviously can tell that I have some kind of lane, which which took me years to figure out though. Like understand this, like and it. I think it makes me sound crazy, but I mean, yeah, I guess I am crazy, but but and something will happen, like if like I could obviously, because Tommy's in Impact Wrestling, so like if I got an opportunity and I think at some point in time, like I kind of feel like I'm getting there. I still need a little more time to incubate a little bit. But like I said, being able to provide my own outlet to help cater to that and to help build that and have active talent and guys that are hungry, and like we do have like a small roster of guys, and doing this show that I wanted to do in May. That's what I was also referring to too. I was gonna all because like when I say this stuff, it makes me sound crazy, but so for May 14th, the the three main matches at the top of the card were gonna be me versus King Mo and like a no ropes match.
oh, okay.
The Stepdads versus the Now, Vic
Oh,
Delicious
oh,
and Hale Collins,
wow.
and then Fox Vineyard versus Dan Barry.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so like and then that like those were confirmed. And then literally as I was like just ready to drop the hammer, uh Mo was like, "Yo, my one of his fighters got a title shot, and it was right on that date." Like, because we were probably like a
Oh,
couple weeks into talking about it. Because I know him, actually, guy named I don't know if you know Ben Ortiz. He hasn't wrestled in a long time. He was wrestling more like from 2014 until about like 2017, 2018. But he was like a student at House of Hardcore. He was there like maybe a year before me.
Action Ortiz.
Yeah,
Action Ortiz.
yep.
I,
He knew Mo because he was connected to ATT. I think he was at the Connecticut ATT. I don't even know if that's still a thing or not. But he was like, "Yeah, I know Mo." He's like, "I can get you his number." So like that MMA pro wrestling show that we did, I brought Mo in at that too, and he did some kind of like stare down with Ben. But but yeah, so it was gonna be, and like I had other guys on it too. Like it was gonna be a good card. But so yeah, it kind of fell apart. So I don't know if I'm hoping I get to, obviously, and that's the thing with me too. It's like you get something like that kind of like in your grasp, and like I know how the wrestling industry is, and it's like exactly that. Like, a couple weeks later, yeah, I was right there, dude. Like, um and so now I just got to try to roll dice again, and hopefully in the future soon we'll have something like that. So
well, personally, I've never seen you perform live. Again, I'm from the Connecticut area. You're
right.
have a little bit of distance at the Glen Falls area.
Yeah.
Uh, talk to us, the fans, because this show, it may have my stinking name on it, but it's not my show. This is a fan show, so we can get to learn about the talent if we know them or if we don't know them. This is like, I mean, I know we did the Thunder Buddies, but this is like legit the first time we're actually, meeting and talking a little bit here.
Right.
Uh,
Well,
so
it's funny
talk.
because I watch all your stuff, so I kind of it feels like I've already
Oh
talked
my,
to you.
oh, I love
Yeah,
you.
well, I
I
mean,
love.
anything that I see on my feed, dude, I'm I got binoculars on. Like if I'm not making something, I'm looking, either looking for something or looking at something. Like
Well,
I lurk, well, that too, and like I even tell, that's the thing about like the people that train with us, is just like, dude, just know that like if people, like, I'm the guy that like I get I'll get weird stuff like just out of thin air. People just like they bring me information, and like it's just like I don't know. It's just like it's if I don't see it myself, there's usually somebody being like, hey, take a look at this, or
Well,
like pointing out something about someone. But
that's like to stalk, because I know it's an odd main platform, but Facebook is my main platform. I'm not limited by characters. I can say as much as I want because we know I can yak a little bit. I can share sizable videos if I want and all of that good stuff. So it's just different than, say, using Twitter as a main platform.
right.
Um, but that's why I stalk a lot of pages on the old face page. So I see all of this stuff and I share much. And that's my thing, Mr. Spoor, is I'm not just sharing what Tesla Strength is doing or PAPW. Those are the two main promotions in my state that run on a regular basis. I'm not just sharing their stuff. I'm sharing all of the wrestlers that I've met at said maybe shows, or have gone to Rhode Island or gone to Massachusetts to check out some shows. I'm not working with these guys and girls, and I'm checking out more promotions and more talent. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing all of this information blow up on my page, and I'm sharing as much as I can that I'm seeing in my news feed as well. Just because that's all I ever wanted, was to maybe have a little bit more spotlight in any kind of manner on my page or my platform. And it wasn't even a matter of making a platform to do something. It just kind of evolved into what it is now, the Kincaid files, if you will. So all I wanted to do, once I started networking with some of these wrestlers, I'm like, man, if I can just give them a little bit of shine from my page, why not? So I started tagging them with little clips and resharing some of their stuff that they would put on. And that's what we do as fans. That's what we should do. We should be uplifting our talents instead of a bunch of this and telling them what they should or shouldn't do in their gimmick or in their move set, or how they fucked up one move in said match or whatever. I always, Mr. Spoor, I'm an uplifter of talent. I'm an uplifter of promotions. That's what we do. That's why I share so much garbage, and I not garbage, but you know what I mean. And that's why I say to my friends, pre getting into indie wrestling as much as I have, your superpowers are amazing for hanging on as long as you have on my platform, because you have to see so much wrestling. And I don't know how you for the people that don't give a shit about wrestling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So talk to us about Jon Spoor, though. Is that your name that you use in ring? Is that your government name? And what is the character Jon Spoor in ring? Does he represent anything? Is there a background? Is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy? Does he like to piss us off when he comes to the curtain?
So yeah, Jon Spoor is my government name. It's my ring name. I don't know. I've never really, so I did have a gimmick before I just decided to use my name.
Okay.
And this is the cool thing about this is, who knows what. Oh my God, you're making me. I'm having another.
Yes, a vision.
I mean, I've already had this thought before too, though. But like, so my
Great.
first 6 matches maybe were wrestled under the alias of the American Marvel.
Oh, wow. I did not see that coming at all. I got to say.
Yes. So as I was, getting to the point where I was ready to actually wrestle a match, we were trying to figure out what I would do for a gimmick. And I actually was on, I think it was like House of Hardcore 4, which was at the Poughkeepsie Hudson or Mid Hudson Civic Center. And it was cool because we did a battle royal, which was actually a skit for Impractical Jokers. So like they were all there too, like
Okay.
the whole Impractical Joker's crew. So we had to like sign papers and stuff. But so like we got to be out there, and they were like really trying to push for me to like figure out something. So I got these like red, white, and blue like spandex like spats, like jujitsu spats. And I just had like, I came out with a flat, like I was just like, at first it was like, all right, I'm gonna, cause like I mean, at that time, and still honestly, not even now, nobody does like a red, white, and blue American gimmick. I mean,
It's
you say that, I know everybody says the Patriot. I get it. The Patriot is the red, white, and blue gimmick guy, but there's no new generation version of that guy. When I got into wrestling in 2014, my first idea was to become that guy. And like I wore like a modified version of like Warrior's face paint. Like I had a full gimmick. Like I was red, white, and blue decked out. That was after this first match. The first match, I just came out with a flag. I had like a red, white, and blue bandana tied around my head, and then it was cheesy. Then I got into like a real like character. But I mean, I don't know. I don't even know why I stopped doing it. At one point, I was just like, yeah, it's just gonna be a lot easier for me to just be myself. And if I think of like I think of what's gonna make me the most, you know, I want to make a living doing this, right? Like, I'd like to be paid, and listen, I spent my 20s in the trenches, okay? And you know what? If I got to spend my 30s in the trenches, bet your ass I'll be in the trenches. And if it has to be my 40s and my 50s, I'm still gonna be in the trenches. But so in my mind, I'm like, what am I gonna make the most money doing? And at that time, and still up to this point in my life, just using my name is like the easiest way for me to. So that's I don't know if that sounds dumb or whatever, but
No, because
uh,
maybe at one point you were probably thinking, okay, it would be easier to use my own name and just, change my gear and have a different look and maybe a different.
right. I kind of see it more where I have like evolutions of Jon Spoor. Like when I
Okay.
first, so I did the American Marvel gimmick, and then like that's kind of when I was a little bit bigger. I kind of was more covered up then, and then I lost all that weight, and then I wore like these like red trunks with a white belt loop on it. I had like red knee pads, and I wore black and red boots. Uh, I only wrestled a couple times in that, maybe like 5 times, and
Still a good
then
because if you were an American hero over there, you've got to.
I switched to Jon Spoor, and it was more of like a, I don't know if you would want to say like a classic wrestler look, maybe. I don't
Okay.
know. And then to be honest, actually, it would be more like, so this is how I see myself as basically a Street Fighter character. So I would more compare that towards Zangief. I was kind of looking more towards Zangief, like the hair, kind of big burly chested hairy dude, wore the fucking, the wrestler gimmick. And then it kind of morphed into like what it is now. I kind of had a moniker called like the Heart of the Devil, just like like a bad guy. It's actually a Danzig reference, but um, so it was kind of like the gimmick that I was going with, and it was just more of just me because I was in the beginning wrestled a lot more face, and I didn't really ever wrestle heel. So once I started more wrestling heel, Heart of the Devil, bad guy, and I kind of like got away from the idea of that. I'm not 100% away from it. I feel like I don't even know what you would consider. I'm more of just that now, wrestling as a heel.
Okay.
And I mean, to be honest, like this is kind of like the stuff that I do, right? Like I said, I'll be in the trenches. So like if I have to be in the trenches, like pissing people off and stuff on social media, or whether it's, like workers that don't understand that I'm kind of like, the thing is like it's me, right? Like that's kind of the cool thing again about like the fact that I do my own production and everything is like you don't really understand what I'm going to do because listen, newsflash, okay? I don't really understand what I'm going to do. It's a lot of impulse, a lot of instinct. Sometimes you feel at 50, sometimes you're at 30, sometimes you're at 100. At least that's how I feel, you know, like even throughout my day. Like there are some times that, you know, I could show up at a show or whatever, and you're just like, man, I wish I had the energy I had, you know, fucking 2 or 4 hours ago, you know, like wow, like you know, but yeah, just got away from my thoughts again.
No. You are absolutely fine, my man. Absolutely fine. We were just going through the evolution of one.
Oh
Jon.
yeah, so yeah, I kind of just see myself as a bad guy. It's just and then the funny thing is like with NYCW, so like my finisher is an elbow. You know, I just wham. I'll send you a little clip. Maybe you can throw it in on the. Do you do post in this? Do you do post edit
No,
or?
I just grab it and put it
Oh,
out on my.
oh, but yeah, it kind of. This is something that I just started doing, getting back from the pandemic. Uh, it's based off from a Muay Thai fighter that I am a fan of on Instagram. His name's, I think Brett Corbin. It's called the Carnage Elbow. He's just like a very nasty Muay Thai fighter. And so the way he throws it is like, I mean, if you're looking at a clock, you go from 12 to 6, right? And he just friggin' whacks people in the head with it, right? So it's basically what I do, but I, you know, safe with it. I try to hurt people, but not too bad. But I have had some people stretchered out of the ring, so you guys better be careful, okay? You don't wanna second guess that, all right?
I don't want no trouble, Mr. Sport.
But so yeah, that's what was I even saying with that? Again, I'm losing myself.
No, that's okay. We were talking people getting stretchered out by Mr. Sport. It's okay.
Yes.
You've given us so much information. Breaking news, a couple things there, and some nice little fun facts going on with the studio. I cannot wait to see where that. I'm gonna go stalk the entertainment page and have a little fun over there.
Yeah, for sure.
So what I'd like to do, um, it's been almost an hour and a half, and we've had some fine
I
conversations.
told you, man. I ramble, dude. I told you.
And we could keep going on because I can ramble as well, my friend. But
Yeah.
what I would like to do is maybe kind of bring this to a tail end, because with the evolution of what you have right now with your studio and to what you're going to be presenting as a product and your Friday night fights here going on, I would like the return of one,
yeah.
Mr. Spoor, so we can talk where you're at, how everything is going over there, and see what's going on. Is that something we can?
100%, man.
Yeah,
We gotta figure out, dude. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we do a live one. We'll have a studio. We can get a dope set. You know, I know plenty of artists like coming up with, or even just, you know, using a monitor and lights and stuff. Like I could definitely have a nice, cool set and do something live. Who knows? Maybe, you know, you could do a thing where it's like, you know, wrestlers come in every 10 minutes or whatever. You know, you just rifle out whoever's at the spot.
I could do live post-match interviews.
Dude, you could do whatever.
Hey,
do whatever.
Are you shitting me? That's amazing.
Dude,
I've never done any.
This is the point of what I'm trying to do. Like, if people want to do it, all they got to do is show up. That's the same thing with me. Like, it is a tall order for one person to do, but like if a bunch of people, you know, and that's, you know, like the show that we did in September, like, you know, when you have like a promoters meeting, the promoter comes in and talks to you. You know, I was just like, hey guys, like I invited you guys all here because I know you guys know what you're doing. I don't need to tell you guys what I want and what I don't want. You guys have the opportunity to showcase yourselves. I'm going to be filming it. So like, obviously if anything was ever an issue, I would be right there anyways, say, hey, you know, but, and you know, those guys showed up and like put on something cool that like doesn't really ever happen around this area. So like I'm just hoping that we can keep building that and building that. And also with this, so it's gonna have to be, you know, I think what I'm gonna end up doing is possibly doing a Patreon for this. Okay, so like this is a thing where like if you've been listening to me and Don here rambling for the past hour and a half, um, Standing A Entertainment on Facebook is where you can kind of keep up to date with all this stuff because that's where everything gets announced. And then if you happen to be friends with on Facebook with me, you know, I try to add people when I remember to. I have two different profiles. I kind of keep one more separated than the other, even though I pretty much share everything to both. But um, so I want to do some kind of like Patreon thing, and what it's going to allow is you to be able to get access to the content that we end up live streaming, like on demand, right? I'm sure we can add some kind of packages to that, maybe like a VIP type thing, but it also is going to end up granting you access to have the opportunities to show up on dates that things are going on to help participate in possibly one way or another. So like it's an incentive for fans to be able to get involved. Uh, I'll add to the next show that we end up doing will actually be a free, like I said, it's going to be a free live stream show. It'll probably be like 4 or 5 matches. Like I'll probably end up having some of the names that I mentioned earlier end up being in those 4 or 5 matches that were going to be on the original May card. And there's going to be no ref. It's going to be that's why you need to go watch the Christmas special because it's going to be kind of filmed in that style, but then also it's going to be an open to fans. So like if you Don want to drive to the studio on the date that I announce at some point in time between now and July, on that Friday, you will be able to arrive at the studio and witness those 4 or 5 matches that will be live streamed on the Standing A Entertainment Facebook page. It's 100% free. It's whoever wants to hang out and watch these matches, they come do so, and it'll be a good time. And yeah, hell
Wow.
yeah.
We
I don't.
have
Yeah, I keep dragging us into a different direction here, but
no,
yeah.
because that's the portion of the program we're at because we want you to have this open platform to promote anything that you have going on, and it's been kind of focusing around the Standing A Entertainment. So I just want all the boys and girls to find it correctly. It would be all together, Standing 8 with the number 8, Standing A Entertainment, all together. Is that correct, sir?
Yes. Yep. All together. Facebook.com/Standing A Entertainment. I mean, I don't think even if you type Standing A Entertainment, so yeah, like he said, standing typed out space 8. Well, when you search it, you know, Standing A Entertainment, you know, you'll see it. You know, I don't think there's like other pages of it, but yeah, the link is Facebook.com/Standing A Entertainment.
Any other links? YouTube, Pornhub, anything else you've got?
Oh,
Hey,
so I do got one more thing too with this stuff because like, are you a gamer, Don?
I am not, sir.
You're
I am
not a gamer.
not.
Well, I'm gonna try to do like a gaming league type thing too. So like, this is another thing too. Like, I think if you can create game content, like that's just more content for you to use to promote other stuff. And if you're a wrestler and you want to be, you know, if you want to put yourself out there, I mean, again, it's just another source of output of
Mhm.
things for people to help promote, you know, and if you like video games and
Right.
want to do video games, but like I want to do tournaments and all that other stuff there too. I mean, dude, it could be a thing where there's there's a video game tournament, a comedy show, a live concert, and then a wrestling show, all in like a Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Like that could very well happen. I think the max limit of standing room there would be in the new space would be like 200, and that's with the ring in it. So like without the ring, it's probably more. But and then like maybe like 100 chairs, and then like 150 chairs standing ring. So like we're gonna be able to have like a pretty cool setup there.
The
You
environment
know,
is amazing. Once you get this all together, man, it's gonna
yeah.
be special.
And the thing is like I've spent this last year pretty much like test running all of that. So like once we move into July, we're off to the races,
It's
basically.
showtime.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I mean, I'm pretty confident with it, honestly. So
I wish you a million all the luck in the universe because it sounds like you've got it all planned out. It seems like you're ready to go. All you have to do is hit the old green button. Once you get into the new place,
I'm hoping, man. Yeah, again, we talked about earlier about how this works, and it's not necessarily it's always easier in the thought, but
trying to send you
I'm
some.
thinking so though. I mean, you know.
Well, we give you all the love. We give you all the luck. And I know with your passion, my man, wow, this cannot do nothing but succeed. I mean, holy shit, it sounds like an absolute amazing adventure. And I cannot wait to see what the future brings. One Mr. Sport and Standing 8 Entertainment, specifically because uh, this is some fun shit, boys and girls. Go to these medias that he's mentioned. He didn't say his Pornhub, but that's okay. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, honestly, like, yeah, I mean, I have an Instagram. It's at the producer, the product. I put like, I'll put stuff out on that. Like I said earlier, it's kind of like a diary of like my 20s. I kind of, the past couple of years, kind of, with all this propaganda and all that stuff, once that started really becoming a thing, I kind of shied away from just like looking at social media a lot because there's just too much. And it kind of got me away from Instagram. I haven't really been posting on it recently either. I've just been so busy. Just like I said, I have two other jobs that I do to support doing all of this. So I'm working easily like 40 to 50 hours a week, and then training people for like I'll do a day where I'm up at like 2:30 in the morning, and then I'll have to work. Like I've done a Saturday where I'm 4 a.m. to noon, 8 hours, and then I get to rush home, shower, grab all my stuff, get ready, and then I drive 3 hours out to Utica. Then I sit around for like 4 or 5 hours, wrestle a match, go home instantly, 3 hours back, and then have to get up the next morning at like 3 in the morning. So like, yeah, man, it's been a crazy last year for sure. But I mean, and it's weird, especially as I started. I'm going on another tangent here. We're gonna drag this thing to 2 hours, just like I told you. But I've been training like, like I can literally leave this call and go wrestle in a ring right now if I want to. So like, it's just like I obviously like that when I didn't have this here, like when my early years of in the business, like I was trying so hard to get stuff going on here. And, there was a company that was around here that wasn't really necessarily interested in me doing my own stuff here. They actually kind of held me back from doing stuff at times when I had opportunities to, is what it is. I don't care. But, I'll still do business with them or whatever, for the sake of New York State pro wrestling. But, um, but I just lost what I was saying. Um, I
I don't know. You had your own thing going on over there.
Yeah, I had my own other rant. Oh, I got it. So, but now I'm at the point where there's nothing really going on here, and now I have a ring. I didn't have a ring in my possession then, so like it was a lot harder for me to try to get something down no matter what because I needed to get a ring no matter what. Now I have a ring, and having the place to train, it's kind of just like how I'm doing all this stuff. I just realized getting out of the, like I said, pandemic. I'm no spring chicken here. I'm in my early 30s. I want to keep doing this as long as I can, And I know if I train right and I'm in control of all that stuff, I'll be able to do this. You know, like look at what Flair was doing in the ring not too long ago that he posted on Facebook or whatever. Crazy
Right.
that he was still rolling around like that. But I wanna be, like I said, in the trenches for the long haul if I have to be, no matter what. You know, like, you know, think of like if you have to do something for the rest of your life, and I can literally just, you know, I can, no matter if it's the next generation or the generation after that or the generation after that, like I'll be able to help create content
Mm,
for the wrestling industry. You know, if it's what I end up, you know, if it's what I end up committing to. And I mean,
mhm.
I don't see why not. I mean, what else is really gonna, you know, I'm already thinking of like the metaverse. Standing E Entertainment will be like an arena in the metaverse. Whether I have to buy a plot of land or whatever in the metaverse to make it happen and build it with AI or whatever. But but uh but I mean, you know, that obviously is something that's in down the road in the future, especially for content too, you know. But
Yeah.
um
Yeah. The meta.
yeah, man. I yeah, I train. Like my body. I feel like when I was in my 20s, I would train super hard. You'd get banged up, and then you'd be like, oh, I need, you know, me. I would always be like, oh, I need to rest. Like I've been like running, like I run treadmill. I lift weights. I'll do that like in the beginning of the day for like, you know, 2 hours or so, and then I'll like have practice late at night. And I'm just like going. And like it's just been like a weird thing. It's almost one of those things where I didn't even know I really had it in me. And somehow like everything's just lined up and like I'm just going. So
Hey.
that's where I need to leave it off at. I need to get out of your hair now.
And no, no, not at all, man. You seem to be in a good place, and I think we got Mr. Spoor on STP at right just a good time.
Listen, so one, I just did a Thunder Buddies episode, so I was already primed, which I was happy that I did it that way. I was actually nervous because I thought maybe I would have been flat during this, but it was actually more just like I said, the Thunder episode was kind of okay, so like, you know, my levels were kind of where they needed to be, and I know that you were gonna be able to do a good interview with me, and you obviously have been great. I appreciate the allowing me to be on here. And to be honest, this is really, other than what I put out, like I don't think I mean the guy that did the interview with me, we basically had the same interview for the most part. Maybe not as chopped up and I wasn't smoking a blunt or whatever, but but um but so this, you know, my story isn't really like out there, and this is probably I think the first podcast that I've kind of ever done that's not been through me.
Oh wow! Uh,
So
Thank you so
it's
much.
something that I do want to do more too. So like I mean, hopefully people will see this and whatever. Like if they want to, and that's actually something. I mean, who knows, man? Like I basically like what we've been talking about. Like if you want to work together on, I mean, it could be what you're doing here, or if you have anything you ever want to shoot ideas from. Actually, somebody I was actually kind of like not really blown away, but I mean, somebody kind of approached me recently about wanting to possibly to do something in the studio. Uh, I would kind of wait more until we move in July to do something like that, but I don't know whether or not it's something that'll work or not. But it could even be something where, like I said, that studio is a way for creators to collaborate, right? And it can be kind of any industry, honestly. Like I want to be able to say it. Like I've like in the, you know, again going back to the pandemic here when we shut down, like I made a couple. I got a hold of a kid that again, I'm stretching this thing out to 2 hours, dude. Hold on. I want to make this really quick. I got this kid locally I was friends with, I went to high school with. He kind of has like the newscaster look. He has like a good voice and everything. So like I basically like produced a like a mock news broadcast where I had like all the production and everything. And the idea was to be able to like possibly work with like newspapers or whatever to like create kind of like a local news type thing. So like I'm interested in any kind of arena, quote unquote. It just so happens the things that I like most are like playing video games, pro wrestling, and I mean, I definitely want to do some kind of cannabis collaboration at some point in time too, obviously, especially with it being, you know, obviously new in New York and everything legally. But so if people ever want to get a hold of me, like they can like you know, like the worst I can do is read what somebody approached me and be like, yes, I can figure that out and do it, or you know, maybe no, it's a lot of time to figure out, and I don't know. Like I told this guy, I'm kind of busy at the moment, so like give me a little bit of time and maybe I'll get back to you on something. But yeah, I'm open to any kind of ideas, and
Awesome.
also too using the Standing 8 Facebook page. I have like I don't know 2,700 likes on it or whatever. So like you know I have like I said a reach.
Yeah.
If you ever want to get your stuff onto that, we can find. I don't know if it's as simple as me just sharing it from your place to my place or whatever, or just sharing. I don't know. You put this on you. You said Facebook is like your
Well,
primary.
all I do is I take this raw file once we're done, I grab it, and then I put it on my YouTube. Then I take that link and put it on Facebook. That's simple.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So like I can just I'll post
Yeah.
your things because like the more the more I can roll out, like the more it helps build, but then the more people can see your things too, right? Like
It's for everybody, man.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. And like I said, if we can collaborate where you do a thing where you can come in and rock out X amount of interviews or whatever, like it just it helps you. Like I see all this stuff as just like reps, no matter what, you know.
Yeah.
Like so,
Yeah.
if you can rep out, you know, as many guys as possible, like hell yeah, man. That's
Hell yeah.
hell
Now,
yeah,
that's a fine way to end this, my friend.
hell yeah.
Boys and girls, we've had such a great time talking to our new friend, Mr. Spoor. And if you do want to check him out, it's SPOOR, Spoor, not SPORE, not Spoor, SPOOR. Check him out, the Standing 8 Entertainment. Reach out if you want to maybe do a little collab, if you're curious on what he's got going on with the studio. He's got many projects. If you want to be a guest on the Thunder Buddies, there's always something there. Uh, he's got a lot of shit going on, my man. My boy, my friends, he's got a lot of stuff going on, but he made the time set aside just for us tonight, and we cannot thank him enough for joining us. I appreciate your time, Mr. Spoor.
I appreciate you having me, Don, anytime, and I hope to be back.
Absolutely, the return of one Mr. Spoor. We're going to be stalking your face page to see what's going on over there.
Go
And
for it, man.
we'll definitely be having the return of one Jon Spoor. This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest this evening, one Mr. Jon Spoor. Thank you for spending the time.
Thank you.